Darkcast Network. Come to the dark side of podcasts. We have cookies.
Cookies? We love cookies.
Warning. The following podcast may occasionally contain strong language and material that is not suitable for all ages. If you are easily offended, it is highly advised that you turn back now. However, if you're a degenerate, welcome, brethren. You've found your home.
This is Dine, Storytime, a podcast about true crime, mysterious occurrences, the occult, and other such things that is themed and centered around food and wine. Get it? Good.
Good.
I'm Nydia, and I believe love is love.
And I'm Dana, and I'm queer and proud.
And I'm Cindy. Let's get it straight. I'm not.
This is our Pride episode! Yay! June is Pride Month. Duh. So we naturally have some stories featuring the LGBTQ plus community.
Yes,
they keep adding letters.
Yes, the alphabet mafia, if you will.
I mean, because we're inclusive.
That's right.
Well, not we, but we are.
We are inclusive.
Yes. I'm not the LGBTQ, but
you're an ally. We allow.
But I love
stay.
you guys, and and I just want to be. I want to support you.
You're the we understood, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm the plus, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah. The plus.
You're the fag hag.
Yes.
You can be that. We allow it.
All right. As I stare at Dana.
Cindy was like, she's not.
All right. So, fair warning. My story is very new and very sad.
Okay.
But what else is new?
What else is new?
Right. So, we'll get to the stories in a minute. But first, the food.
The food.
Let us pray. Bless us, O patrons, for these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy donations through Patreon every month. Podcast.
Cult.
Ooh, what is it?
Oh,
is this barbecue chicken?
To a certain level.
Okay.
In the oven, it's supposed to be grilled spatchcock chicken.
What?
With a
Spatchcock?
Yes, spatchcock.
Okay.
With a peach Dijonnaise glaze.
Okay.
Peach Dijon glaze. And let's blame Jose Cuervo for
We've
that.
taken a couple of shots of Jose Cuervo.
Yeah.
Bear with us. It's Pride Month. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah, for real.
Chill the fuck out. We have bacon wrapped asparagus, which I love asparagus, one of my favorite
Oh, my.
vegetables. I almost said appetizers, but
Can you
vegetables.
smell your pee after you pee with asparagus?
I mean, I don't know that I've ever eaten that much that it's like affected my pee.
Really? That's a genetic thing. That was
Then maybe it just doesn't.
23andMe is like,
Your pee
that's a
smells?
genetic marker that some people can't smell it. If I take a sniff of asparagus, I can smell it in my urine.
Pee stinky.
Not stinky, it just has a different smell.
Interesting.
Is that jasmine rice?
That is basmati.
Bismati.
Beautiful.
Is this for her story or mine? This can't possibly be mine.
This is for
For your
pride.
Pride? Oh, is this a gay
Oh.
episode? Is this a gay meal?
So,
Gay meal? Is this a queer chicken that you brought us?
yes, I did.
Why is it queer?
It is queer because the recipes come out of Tasty Pride book.
Oh, she brought a full-on cookbook here.
Oh my God,
Let's
it's
see
a
it.
beautiful book.
Look at it.
I was given the Tasty Pride recipe book by our friend Jamie, listener to
Oh, what a
of the podcast.
sweetheart.
Let me ask you a question.
And it is
what makes food gay?
Hold on. It is 75 recipes and story from the queer food community.
Okay, so that's what makes it
love
queer.
Yes, let me finish.
It makes it queer if it's good.
Okay.
That's why.
All right.
And if it's cooked by a queer chef.
So if it's
So technically, all of the food we eat is queer because Cindy
Right.
cooks us queer food every week.
Okay, also non-queer food is probably has
Bran
no
flakes.
Yes, it's bran flakes. It's chicken with no seasoning on it.
Oh, white people food. Oh no. White and straight. No. Oh no. All right, let's dig in. Queer chicken.
I like gay chicken.
The gayest of chickens. It's so good. It's so
The asparagus was also a little bi.
A little bi?
Yeah.
Bi asparagus. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Asparagus does feel a little bi to me.
Also, the bacon, like, draped over it.
Right, just, like, around its shoulders.
I
all, like,
mean,
elegant, like, touching
fucking
itself.
gave a RuPaul vibe.
Yes. It was very fancy. Very queer. The whole meal. Basmati rice.
I
yes,
mean,
please.
Those basmati
Can it get any gayer?
They were, yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, the Cuervo's really hitting.
I loved it. I loved it so much. She brought extra sauce, which I splattered all over my chicken, and it was moist.
It
was fantastic.
It was amazing. It had like what kind of glaze was that? Like, I feel like it was sweet, but like a peach. Was it peach?
It was the peach glaze.
Fruity.
Oh, it was fruity.
I love it.
That was a hell of a barbecue.
It was delicious. This was so good. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Loved it so much. I cannot wait for dessert. We don't know what it is yet, but I'm very excited. What are we drinking?
We are drinking Sauvignon Blanc.
Mm.
It is called Route 1, and it's a beautiful bottle.
Yes, it's got a tree on it.
It's got a tree and
With
some
roots?
roots, and like it has like all these vineyards that like I guess it came from the roots of this wine.
That feels
maybe?
like probably, yeah.
This is a wine. I was gonna say year. Insert
It's a
year
what?
here. It is a liquid. It is not a solid.
Nor is it a gas.
No, it has tropical aromas with crispy, fresh pineapple
Yeah.
and
Okay.
pear flavors.
Love pineapple and pear flavored wine.
Yes, the cool maritime climate of this
The region where it's from?
estate vineyard. Where
Oh,
it's
what
from.
state is it from?
It's from.
It's from the Casablanca region. It preserves the natural aromatics and bright acidity of the Sauvignon Blanc.
Yo, but straight up, it's really good,
It's
y'all.
good. You should drink it.
It's good. How much was this?
Shit. My wife paid for it. Danny.
Freeze for me. Under 20 beans, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Definitely under 20 that we try to stay about.
Yes, this is a low class situation.
I want to say
happening here.
$11
There
for
we
this
go.
one.
Okay, and you know what? It's good.
Yeah, it's good for $11.
It's a good
I
for
like this.
$11. It's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
it went well with the food.
Yes. Yeah.
It did have a crisp.
Yeah.
Sensation
It has a
happening.
tropical, tasty
Sauvignon
flavor.
Blancs usually
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I think you would like it.
I think
there,
you would
we're
love it.
recommending it.
Top of the list.
All right.
Sure.
This week.
This week, you got something you want to tell us?
I do. Oh my God. Okay, so we are teaching remotely, which means that the kids have computers in their homes,
Yeah.
and we have, we can see their home. We can see into their homes,
Right.
Which normally, you know, we're teachers. I'm a teacher, so my school has a hybrid, which means that if you don't have any kids, I'm just explaining. All right, which means that you have the option of staying at home and having a computer. And, you know, we go live and it's
Right.
not called Zoom, but we don't use Zoom, but it's kind of like Zoom, right?
Okay.
So you have that option, or you have the option of coming in, right? So one teacher that I work with had the unfortunate situation where she couldn't see the kid's screen, but she received a text message from the child.
Okay.
So the child has a little brother in our school too, and the other teacher, the second grade teacher, this is a fifth grade teacher, the second grade teacher also was getting these messages. And the messages were, they can reach us via text when their screen is shut off.
Okay.
And they were saying, please help us, this is happening right now.
Oh my God.
Please call 911, I don't know what to do, I don't know
What?
what to do. And like the second grader is texting this, but the fifth grade teacher saw it. For some godforsaken reason, we don't know why. Listen, because the fifth grade teacher saw it, the text messages to the second grade teacher. Do you know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
These
yeah,
are two
yeah.
separate computers. So it's like a computer glitch or some kind.
What was
that?
wrong?
I don't know, but
Girl,
she was
what the
seeing.
fuck?
So the teacher saw it, immediately called our security team.
Okay.
The security team called, because it's like a protocol. You can't just
Sure.
call 911. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, like...
Oh my God, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
So what happened was there was indeed a domestic violence situation in their home.
Oh my God.
And yes, and the high school, so where the security people, the head of security for our schools for the whole district is at the high school. So they were able to send somebody out and be with the children and secure the children while 911 took care of everything.
Oh my God.
And it was like it was like scary. It
That's
was scary.
so fucked.
Yes. So the 5th grader was, they were both, I guess, trying to communicate. I don't know the full thing because it was just like so confusing and so quick. But girl, that's scary.
Oh my God, but that's
Yes.
really good they were able to reach out to somebody.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know. It's so sad. So anyway, that happened this week.
Well, way to bring the party down, bummer.
So, I mean, these things happen.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. And it's like, this is the thing, like, once they lose that connection with us, you know,
Right.
June, like, that's why I always say, like, in a lot of school districts, people are like, oh, it's so great that we're getting out of school for summer. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, getting out of school for summer for some kids,
Yeah.
that's not the ideal.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
well, remember the child called it? Like, the worst
Yeah.
part of his life was the summer because he didn't have school to, like, at least get lunch.
I
Where somebody
know.
could, like, give him food,
Oh, listen, it's bad out there, man. Just, I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
Tragedy.
But okay, positive note.
Let's bring it up a notch.
Let's bring it up a notch. The kids did
Good,
get, yes,
yeah, good.
that was addressed and it was taken care of.
Good.
And it was outside of their nuclear home.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was out. It was like an uncle or something that
Okay,
came and
good.
brought them. So it's not like they're so. Be
Right.
happy about that.
Okay,
right?
perfect.
So David, my son's name is David.
Is it?
Yeah.
Never talked
I don't know
about
if I've
it before
ever
on this
mentioned him
podcast.
before. So anyway,
Not Boogie?
Boogie. Oh my God. So it's his senior year, and he had a really good year. He's a baseball player. He had a good year. And his teachers, oh my God, they got together and they made him a collage of all his newspaper,
That's so sweet.
because he's had a really good baseball
he's
season.
been in the paper a lot this year.
Yeah, so they cut it out and they made a collage for him and laminated
Oh
it.
my
and
God.
yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, that's so sweet.
That is so sweet.
That is the kindest thing
Really?
to do for a kid, because he was just like, I didn't even think they cared.
Right.
And that was just like, oh my God, that is like, if nothing else happens for him, he can remember that.
Yeah, he gets to like have this thing of all his accomplishments on it.
Or just not even the accomplishments, but the fact that his teachers thought
Gave a
enough
shit
highly about
yeah.
him,
Yeah, because they have like 60 students over and over and over again all
Exactly,
day. Yeah.
That's
That's
so I
so
thought that was
sweet.
so kind and sweet. You know what? Teachers, they care, man.
Yeah.
They care. I've
Not
spent,
you, but other teachers.
Shut up. I've spent thousands of dollars of my
Right.
own money over the years of working
Yeah,
on
teachers-
kids.
I
have.
love those like memes where like the police are, people are like defund the police and the police don't have enough money to buy these like expensive cop cars, and then the teachers are like, oh, is this your first rodeo? Like we've been doing this shit for all of millennia trying to be teachers with no funding and
With no funding,
Yeah.
just trying to fucking scrape by. I've worked with teachers that have bought uniforms for the students.
Crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have myself bought uniforms for the students, I mean, Christmas presents for them.
Right.
We go above and beyond, and it's not just the poor districts. I just happen to work in a poor district,
Yeah.
not a poor district, but a district
a very
where like
underfunded
right
district.
underfunded district. But like there are kids like even in the middle class and the upper class districts,
Sure.
teachers are just giving.
Right.
You have these kids with you for a period of time. Of course, you get
a long
attached to
period
them.
of time, 5 days a week, like
I have them I'm a looping teacher, so I have them for 2 years in a row.
Wow.
They're my kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm more invested in them than their own parents.
sure. Well, you spend a lot of time, sometimes even more time with
More
them
time than
their
their parents.
Sure,
Yeah. And that's not saying a negative against them. Sometimes these
mean-
parents have to work 2 jobs.
Yeah, sure.
But
I mean, even like you think about your regular family, like if you go to work 5 days a week,
Right.
40 hours a week, you're away from your family more than you are
And if they were
home
in
with your family.
sports
Right,
and,
forget it. Yeah, you've never.
So
Oh, that's crazy.
I've been called mom a few times.
Oh, I did that in 4th grade. I'll never forget it. That was like 30 years ago, and I still remember it. I was like, called my 4th grade teacher mom. My 3rd grade teacher, not my 4th grade teacher, my 3rd grade teacher. I like still remember that. I'm like,
Of course
oh,
you do.
God, I wake up at 3 in the morning. I'm like, oh God, remember that time you called Miss Dingley mom? It was terrible. She probably thinks about that.
Yeah, she probably does.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That is not helpful. I have a gripe. Would you like to talk about my gripe?
Yeah, let's hear about your gripe.
So I've been complaining week after week how busy we are, which is like a really great thing to complain about, right? Because like I'm busy and I'm making money and I'm working, and some people are not as fortunate as me that get to work. But I will say this, y'all, tip your servers. Tip your massage therapist, tip your hairdresser, stop fucking around, tip them 20%, tip them 18%, but do not tip someone $10 on a $150 service. Fuck all the way off, 3 times sideways if you want, I don't care. So I got to thinking, right?
Right.
What the fuck? This is psychotic that the public determines how much money I make based on a whim.
Right,
like
yeah.
it's psychotic that this is the system.
and even more so because you do well. You're
I
you're
do
a
well,
massage
right,
therapist, so
yeah.
you do well regardless of the tip,
Right.
Regardless of the extra tip, right?
Oh no, no, she needs
I mean,
the
that's
tip.
that's
No, no,
a
no.
third of my income is my
right,
tips.
right,
Yeah,
right. But what I'm
absolutely.
saying is these waitresses and waiters
Right.
that make $2 an hour,
Right.
They've made $2 an hour since freaking
The beginning of time.
since the beginning of
Yeah,
time, right?
right.
So those people really
Tip your fucking servers.
Right.
Yeah. So of course I like looked it up, right? And also this is not also funny, but like I was curious as to like, I want to know the like history of everything, right? We started tipping people because at the end of slavery, when freed slaves started working in the service industry as servers or butlers or things like this, they didn't want to pay them as much as they would pay white people, so they paid them a lesser salary and just told the public, tip them if you think that they deserve more money. And that's how tipping began, and that's why we as in the service industry get a diminished paycheck because racism. Because everything is about fucking racism.
And that makes sense because I hear that they don't have that in Europe. That's not
Almost
a custom in
anywhere.
They
Europe.
don't.
Yeah.
And when I was in England, and I remember I tipped the waitress, well, at that time, because I'm old, I think I tipped her the 15%.
Yeah.
And which was the good.
Customary, yeah.
Customary for us. She was like, oh my God, thank you. She
Yeah.
was so excited. And I'm like, dude, that's standard.
No,
price.
because they didn't across other countries. We
Right.
didn't like free slaves that happened. Like what happened here, like this big
Right,
war and all
yeah.
this like you're gonna have to let them go.
Right.
So that's why we have a tipping. That's why the whole tipping industry is because racism and slavery.
Wow.
Isn't that so fucked? That's your history lesson for the week, guys. There you go.
As a side note, do you know where did you find that information from?
On TikTok, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a I can send it, I can post it if you want. There's a fast talking guy who does these little bits of like history or economics or whatever. He's actually really good, and he did like a whole little series on the history of tipping and why it's fucking psychotic. Yeah,
Wow.
I can tell you. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to say?
No.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just wondering
Share him with me because I love to follow
He's
stuff like
really
that.
really good, and he
Yeah.
like does like all kinds of shit like government things and like just like helps you understand things a little bit more.
Wow.
And it's really really interesting.
I love that.
And he's a fast talker, so he'll be like
Right.
all of this information in like a
to
minute.
try to get it in under
Yeah,
a minute.
it's really good.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. But tip your fucking servers, guys. Like,
Or don't go the fuck
or
out.
don't go out. Yeah, that's fine. Get takeout and like tip whatever you do for your takeout. But like,
Or cook the fuck at home.
or cook, or fucking I don't know, dude. Cindy, anything?
Girl, I slept today. I went.
You did?
So I had a doctor's appointment, and I actually had a major meeting at 2:00 at work. But I had a doctor's appointment first thing in the morning. Went, did that, and instead of going straight into the office, I went home and slept until 12:30,
Yeah.
12 o'clock.
We love
Yourself.
a nap. Yes.
I mean, my body was just not
good night, sweetheart.
not working.
Yes.
Went to work, got there, handled the meeting. contemplated every second after about leaving early.
Yep.
Did not.
To make queer chicken.
To make queer chicken.
To make queer chicken. Why else would you leave work early?
But
also,
I didn't. I still made queer chicken without leaving early.
Wow.
We
Still
appreciate
handled
you.
You checked off both boxes. I really want to retire both of you. I really do.
I want to do that too.
I know, like, no, I really do. I really want to retire both of you because I love you guys so much. And it's not just the Jose Cuervo talking. No, you know what it is? I dream of being the good guy, the hero in somebody's life. I dream of it. It's the
You're
narcissistic.
so narcissistic.
Yes.
It's like not even funny.
It's that. I admit it. So can it be narcissism?
Yeah.
Can it be if I know it?
Yes, I think so. I think it's okay to be narcissistic and know it.
Also, Cindy fucking posted on Facebook something about, like, if 36,000 people die, that means that that is like 20 trees.
That was me. I posted
Okay.
that.
I'm like,
Okay,
I was
so
about
what
to
was
say,
the-
when do I post shit?
What was it that you posted, Dana?
It was a meme from Phineas and Ferb. You know how Candace was like crazy? Hold on. If you don't know what Phineas and Ferb is, I can't help you. Get your shit together.
It's a cartoon.
It's
on
a
the
cartoon
Disney
from like
Channel.
when the kids were small, which my son loved Phineas and
I
Ferb.
loved Phineas
It was
and
so
Ferb.
good.
I still sing their freaking theme song.
And there's a fan theory about Phineas and Ferb. Do you know
No.
this? Okay. So you know how Candace is always trying to catch the boys doing
Yes.
something wrong? There's a fan theory, and the mom always is saying, sometimes I worry about you, Candace. And that's what she says at the end of
Right.
this meme. There's a fan theory that Phineas and Ferb are figments of her imagination because she is actually schizophrenic. And she imagines the whole thing, that
What
they're not
the
real. And the whole
dark.
every episode is her trying to catch the boys doing something wrong and show her mom. And her mom never sees them doing anything wrong because they're not real.
That's so dark.
But the meme was killing 31,646 people would save the same amount of oxygen as planting 2 million trees. And I was
Right.
like, that you an idiot?
Right. And then the people that agreed with that, I was just like,
Your people.
what am I fucking putting out into the universe that people think that I think like that? And also, yes, I do think like
Yes,
that.
because you said many times that Thanos was right.
He was.
Okay, then.
He absolutely was. Like, there is no question about it. And whenever I'm in a crowd, I am like, not enough
Whenever
people
I
have
get a
died.
$10 tip on a $150 service, you're like,
Yes.
okay, Thanos, let's
do this.
Let's get to snapping, bitch.
Let's do this. Absolutely. I'm here for it.
Oh, that's so funny.
So,
All right, well, you had a nap, you had a tragedy at school, and I've had bad tippers.
it wasn't a tragedy. It was a tragedy averted.
Tragedy averted.
Yes.
You had a really cool tech thing happen.
What tech thing? Oh, yes, yes. Where technology was able to help
Yes, we love technology.
two lovely children.
Oh, good.
Yes. But don't settle down on the freaking feel goods.
Okay, good. You're about to ruin everybody's day.
I'm about to ruin
Perfect.
your
Can't
day.
wait.
Tonight, I am sharing with you a story that I found through TikTok. And it just
Okay.
captivated me from the start.
Let's do it.
So this story went right up my ass because of the injustice of it all.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Oh.
It's just like, oh my God. Like, and at the end, I'm gonna...
And that's the running theme with queer cases.
Yes.
Is the injustice of it all.
Yes.
It's so fucked up.
And we're moving into a better... I want to say that we're moving slowly. We move at a slow pace.
Fucking caterpillars.
On September 15th of 2020,
What the fuck?
a few months ago,
I hate this already.
19-year-old Jason Fox left to meet up with a friend. He's 19.
I think I
Just
already know this story.
a couple months
on
ago.
TikTok.
Just a few. Yes, it's a TikTok story.
Is this the mom that's
Yes.
like, oh, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
I actually don't really know the details of it because every time this mom comes on, I'm like, nope, nope, nope.
Yes. It was at this get-together that he was brutally beaten to death. His body was found in a shallow grave at that same location almost 3 weeks later.
What the fuck?
And I cut to the chase because there is a backstory to this.
Okay.
So he was placed 3 feet below ground with his hands tied behind his back and a boat parked over his final resting place. 5 men have been arrested in connection with his murder. What's unclear and makes this case particularly interesting to the masses is the motive.
Okay.
So, why was Jason Fox killed? That is the biggest question in all of this. And this is where the TikTok comes in. His mom, Pepper Fox, of Pepper Fox 26 on TikTok, go check her out. Go follow her. Believes his murder was a hate crime.
Okay.
And I believe it was too. And that's why I want to share it with as many people as possible, because to me, this has an Emmett Till vibe, you know?
Okay.
Where the mom exposed the ugly for the sake of the greater good of exposure.
Right.
And that shit just can't stand.
No.
It can't.
That shit needs to stop.
It cannot fucking stand. In 2021, where the Jetsons were basically taking place. The setting of the Jetsons.
Right.
And we're still dealing with this shit?
Right.
We should be fucking embarrassed. Anyway, Jason was out as a gay teenager, and he had the full support of his parents. His family wanted him to be his true, authentic self, and they were accepting of him.
Love it.
He identified as bisexual. Jason's hometown is Newport, Washington. This is a small town of about 2,300 residents.
Okay.
Dude, small towns are dangerous when
Right.
ignorance is allowed to breed.
Yeah.
They're just fucking dangerous. This particular small town, I don't want to say all of them, they were not accepting of the LGBTQ plus community. Jason's parents separated when he was young, but they continued to support him as a family. His mother, Pepper, moved away, but continued a close relationship with Jason. His father, Michael, remarried a woman named Susan, and together they raised Jason and his older brother, Robbie.
Okay.
They were a complicated family, like many of us have. It's just some are better at hiding it.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So this is brought up like on TikTok. A lot of people comment on her TikToks saying like, "Oh, you abandoned him when he needed you." Blah blah blah. You know, TikTok has its share of bullies, right? Now, whatever happened in that family, she left, she moved away, and he stayed with his father. But that doesn't
That
say
happens all the time.
Come on now. Like
Yeah.
it was just like, really, folks? Like that's what you're gonna fucking
It's part of that patriarchy kind
You're
of
right.
mentality where the mom is the one that's supposed to stay.
Right.
And the father can go ahead and continue
Do whatever the
living
fuck
his
he
life
wants,
and do, and no shame is brought on him as long as he's paying his child support.
Right.
And occasionally comes and spends some time with his kid like he's fucking babysitting.
Right.
Right.
That's that
That
mentality.
patriarchal bullshit, we ain't having it.
right. Well, she didn't necessarily leave because she was abandoning him.
No, they got divorced, so what? Or whatever the case is.
I guess the point is, like, some people say that she was with someone that wasn't accepting of him and whatever the complicated situation. Everybody has a complicated life, and nobody deserves to die or get the blame for their child's, murder.
She didn't fucking
Come on
kill him.
now.
What the
Yes,
fuck?
right? And this has been happening with her. So,
Well, we ain't having that.
during the weeks that he was missing, because remember he was missing for 3 weeks,
Okay.
his mother, Pepper, posted on social media, and I quote, "He loves matcha tea. He loves calling himself Pepper's mini-me. He loves his animals. He loves Vans shoes and is a good cook." Because remember, he's missing for 3 weeks.
Right.
So she's posting this on social media.
Hoping that he's going to come home.
Right.
Or they're going to find him.
Right. She continues with, "Jason loves hard, tries hard, and he is the spitting image of me and my father. My father would have been so proud. Jason is big. Jason is strong. Jason is a warrior. He's my last blood relative alive. Now, at 40, I am alone. No one to cry over my mother with. No one who understands me. I keep wondering if he will ever have his first legal drink, fall in love for real, buy a house. He's supposed to start school in October. He has a full scholarship to be a nurse like I once was. He's going to be a cute nurse. Those dimples when he smiles, eyes so big and dark. The first time I held him in my arms, I felt that overflowing cup of love you hear about. I never loved anyone so deeply until Jason. I understand him and he understands me. There's no feeling more horrifying than not knowing where your child is. If they're fed, if they're safe, if they're warm, if they're gone. I will not find peace until I find my baby. He's a good friend, a great listener, loved to visit with the elderly, and was kind to everyone.
Jesus.
Jason was clearly and deeply loved.
Yeah.
The men involved with Jason's murder are Kevin Belding, 24, Matthew Raditz Freeman, 28, Claude Merritt, 25, Riley Hillstad, 28, and Sean Bella, 23. The last guy is not charged in the murder, but he's being charged with providing false information.
Okay.
So those 5, along with others, there's a total of like 24 people that were involved in this.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So they're all in their 20s, bro. That beat your chest age. That, oh, gotta
Right.
So a little bit of background is needed in order to paint a picture of what the climate around the situation was.
Okay.
Jason's body was found buried on a property located on 22 Juergens Road. This property was owned by Ken and Shannon Scheckler. They called this property the Timber River Ranch. Timber River Ranch was a 54-acre waterfront wedding venue located in Newport, Washington, along the Pend Oreille River. It was a picturesque property with a timber frame red barn and gorgeous waterfront mountain views.
Cool.
This property was once a working ranch and was still a hay-producing farm. There was also a 3-story farmhouse on the property. The place was so chic that its owners, Ken and Shannon Scheckler, were able to charge upwards of $4,000 to couples searching for a secluded place to marry.
Okay.
Business was booming, and then when the COVID-19 quarantines and restrictions began, so did the demise of the wedding venue.
Right.
When Ken Scheckler filed for divorce, a judge granted Shannon full control over the ranch and ordered Ken to leave the property.
Okay.
So on September 13th, Shannon and her lawyer, Aaron Jones, arrived at the Timber River Ranch to conduct an inventory of the property at stake in their divorce proceedings. They were dividing up the property,
Okay.
and they awarded her that property.
Right.
And so she was just, taking inventory of what
What's
was
here,
on
what's-
it,
right, sure.
whatever it's worth, right? So when they went there, they found the place was a mess. Yes, it was a mess. And if you can still look this place up, and you can still see Yelp reviews and
Oh, okay.
They also found squatters living in the main house, and as they continued to survey the property, they came to a tiny home located down a dirt road closer to the river. So people just set up and just started living there.
Okay.
So when the lawyer knocked on the door and announced himself, Riley Hillstad came to the door armed with 2 pistols in his belt, acting like a threatening idiot.
In a house he's squatting in.
In a house he's squatting in.
Love it.
Right?
Love it.
Like, this is my house, bitch. What you
Is
doing
it, though?
here? Like, Second Amendment this and Second Amendment
Right.
that. I have never read the Constitution, but I know about the Second Amendment.
That's right.
Riley said he had the authority of Ken to run the place.
Oh, shit.
Ken, the person who was losing the property in
Right.
the divorce. Jones characterized Hillstad's responses as unclear when he tried to press him on what he meant and where a number of missing vehicles were. So he's like, the lawyer's like, what do you mean Ken gave you authority over the place?
Ken has no authority here.
Yeah. And also, where are the vehicles that were on this location? Like, this
Nice.
is a full working ranch. Where is all the equipment, right? So Riley was vague about his connection with Ken Scheckler, but others around the area said that Riley was Ken's guy to quote unquote take care of people.
Good. Great.
Yeah. Jason Fox drove to the wooded area, to the wooded property, 2 days after Aaron Jones and Shannon Scheckler did that little walkthrough to take inventory. And that's when he was beaten to death and buried. 2 days after that little walkthrough. Okay. Joe Coleman, Ken Scheckler's attorney, denies that Ken left the men in charge of the house. He claimed Ken Sheckler was yet another target of these sinister individuals. And with Mr. Sheckler not being allowed on the property because of the divorce, the splitting of the divorce property, there was nothing to stop the squatters. So basically, when he was ordered off the property for the property splitting, he had no control over who was squatting and who was not.
To annoy his ex-wife, it would behoove him to be like, go stay on the
go
property.
Ahead. Yeah, have your run of it. Fucking
How
drive
would they
it
know
into
who
the
owned
ground.
it? Yeah, right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Get all the vehicles off, sell them behind her back. Yeah, it's an ugly divorce.
And it's a continuing thing where Pepper now took to TikTok and said Ken has to be punished for something.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So anyway, he added that they were already in the process of suing the squatters for fraud and other things.
Okay.
So after the fact, they were like, yeah, you ruined my wife's property, you know, you whatever.
Right.
They're trying to sue him to like cover his ass, right? So Coleman said they stole from him and left him nearly penniless. He called them vultures that preyed on a man at his most vulnerable.
Yeah, right.
There was drugs involved and,
Sure.
you know. So anyway, I'm going to tell you why it's so difficult for the courts to prove that this was a hate crime. You see, the day after the property tour, so the day before the murder, but after the property tour, Jason Fox made a drug deal with a woman who was romantically involved with Riley Hillstead.
Okay.
So Riley Hillstead, the one that came to the door with the guns, right? Okay. Yosemite Sam style.
Right.
According to investigators, Fox couldn't afford to buy meth from her. So he gave her his Apple Watch to keep as collateral before he could pay her.
Okay.
Before he could pay her. So there's meth involved.
Okay.
All right. When he realized he'd been given salt instead of meth,
fuck.
he sent the woman a Facebook message trying to get his watch back. Their last communication over Facebook is Fox's unanswered hello.
Right.
Okay. At the same time, investigators say Fox was messaging someone else about buying drugs. He didn't deserve to die for it, you know, but that muddies the situation because
it raises reasonable doubt that
it wasn't a hate crime.
That it might not be a hate crime because it gives them an excuse to say, oh, this was over drugs, not over the fact that he was gay.
Right.
Right.
So later that same night, just before midnight, Jason had his last interaction on Facebook when he exchanged messages with Claude Merritt. Jason said he wanted to hang out with Merritt, but not Hillstead. He texted, "Where's your place? And is it for real, not Riley?" Jason asked on social media, using FR as a shorthand for real.
For real, yeah.
Like, I want to for real kick it. I just ain't down for drama.
Okay.
So specifically, he says, I don't want to be around Riley Hillstead.
Right. They already beat me for drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
And I believe that he was meeting up with Claude Merritt as like a sex thing.
A date?
Because he had pictures of Claude naked in his phone. So he's basically lured.
Okay.
With the pretext that Riley isn't going to be there,
right.
but Riley is absolutely there.
Right, okay.
Because he's literally coming onto Riley's
where he's squatting.
Property,
yeah, right, okay.
Right? So Merritt's answer was, bro, that's where I'm at because I don't like that insert curse word around me. So he's saying, dude, Riley's not here. I don't want that piece of shit around me.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's because
expletive is
taken out, right? So Merritt said this to assure Jason that Riley Hillstead was not going to be there. It was very clear. He's like, dude, I'm not going over there if Riley's going to be there.
Right.
And Claude says, dude, he's not here. I don't like him either.
Okay.
That's the gist of that. Okay?
Right. And if they beat him for drugs, why would they want him to come there? Especially if he had they still had his Apple Watch because he's going to want to get his watch back.
Right.
Right. So that makes no sense.
Right. So did he lure him or was it an honest mistake?
Okay.
Who knows? I'm sure the defense will fucking argue that, right? So either way, Jason was unsure but hopeful because on his way there, he did two things.
Okay.
That make him unsure yet hopeful.
Okay.
He bought $85 worth of fast food to take to his friend. He stopped at McDonald's.
Jesus Christ.
Right. So he was like bringing a feast to everyone.
Yeah.
And
also not planning on doing meth with that much fast food.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Also, like, if you look at the mom's TikToks, Pepper's TikToks, she's like, he just wanted to belong.
Yeah, right.
Like, he just wanted to
He just want to be friends with him, yeah.
He wanted to fit in, and you can tell from the effort and the fact that they sold him fucking salt instead of meth.
And he still wanted to hang out with them.
And he still, you know, like, he's looking for, in a town of 2,300 people, he's looking for somebody to fucking have his back, right? So, he takes the fast food to his friend. He also reached out to his aunt's boyfriend a few minutes before his last message with Claude Merritt. He's saying, I'm going to be at 22 Jurgens Road in case anything happens to me.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And this was quite possibly the smartest thing he did, because otherwise I don't think we would have ever found him if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
Okay? So how did Jason know these people? Investigators believe that this group had a tangled history. It is believed that in early 2020, and early, I'm talking pre-COVID, Jason met this group after he moved from his father's house. For a time, Jason had been kind of moving around from place to place until he could go to college. Now, again, Jason was not a saint.
He's a teenager.
He was not a saint.
Yeah.
Neither are many of us, okay?
Yeah.
His drug use or whatever the hell the situation was did not merit for him to die.
I mean, if you've listened to one episode of our Patreon, all I talk about is the drug use I had when I was 18 and 19 years old.
And putting ourselves,
in the most fucked up situations and dangerous situations.
Yes.
Yeah.
How we have survived is clearly a miracle from heaven.
Right, yeah.
So Jason was trying to become a nurse. Sometime during the summer of 2020, he moved in with Matthew Raditz Freeman. Remember I mentioned him as one of the people arrested. And he and his girlfriend Amanda Pearson. This living arrangement didn't last long, and Jason ended up moving in with an aunt. It was after Jason moved that Matthew Raditz Freeman and Amanda Pearson moved to the Timber River Ranch property. Riley Hillstad also took up residence on the ranch. So, initially he was living with Matthew Raditz Freeman and his girlfriend. Jason. This was all during COVID quarantines and everything. And then he moved out, and they started squatting at the ranch, and so did Riley. Okay. So now we're on par with all that. So some kind of beef happened between Matthew, Amanda, and Jason. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because he reported to police that summer that Matthew Raditz Freeman swung a pipe at his car during an argument and also forced him to give his girlfriend Amanda some money.
Shit.
So what happened between those three? Who knows?
Okay. We don't know the story.
Okay. I'm sure that when the court case comes out,
we'll find out more about it.
Another incident reported by Jason Fox was that Riley Hillstad and Matthew Raditz Freeman smashed his car windshield after he had taken a license plate off of Hillstad's car. So, from what I read, they were convinced that Jason was the one that took the license plate off, and so they smashed up Jason's car.
Okay, so this is just a bunch of fucking mess.
It's like, yeah, it's a mess, and like it seems like they're picking on him and bullying him. With or without reason, they're just really going the extra mile.
Also, he's way younger than all of them.
Yeah, he's a 19-year-old kid. He's the youngest of them all, and they're just like fucking bullying him because he's probably a soft kid. Mm-hmm. In a written statement in the police report, Jason Fox said Riley Hillstad had an assault rifle and was yelling about how he wanted to shoot him. To say there was drama within the group is putting it mildly. Mm-hmm. There was tons of drama within the group. And this was during fucking quarantine where everybody's like chilling.
Everybody's having a good old time.
Come on, like you're just staying home, right? So back to the night he goes missing. Jason agrees to hang out with Claude Merritt, the stipulation that the other jagoff won't be there.
Right.
He sends the text to his aunt's boyfriend and goes off to his death.
The aunt who he was living with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. The next day, when Jason is nowhere to be found, his aunt indeed reports him missing. Okay. So a sheriff's deputy and a Newport police officer arrived at 22 Jurgens Road the next day in search of Jason Fox after an emergency cell phone ping revealed that he had been there just after midnight the day before.
Shit. Okay.
All right. So there, they found the delightful squatters, Matthew Raditz Freeman, Riley Hillstad, Claude Merritt, and Amanda Pearson, each with a different story about when they had last seen Jason.
Okay.
None of them can get a story straight.
Okay, great.
So Claude Merritt said that he hadn't seen him in 2 weeks, and Riley Hillstad said that he hadn't seen him in a month.
Mm-hmm.
They're all living in the same compound.
Except his phone was there last night.
Right.
Okay.
And he even doubled down by saying Jason knew better than to come out there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So Amanda Pearson told police that Jason had been on the property a week before, and she said that he had to be escorted off the property.
Interesting.
Now, this gave me... Remember when I did last Pride episode?
Mm-hmm.
Last year?
Yeah.
I did the Gwen Araujo episode.
I do.
And what was that one called?
Our very proud episode.
Our very proud episode, if you want to catch up on that. This has a very similar vibe to it.
Okay.
And that left me
Yeah.
with depression.
And it's almost the same situation where it was a group of people
Yeah.
and a person at a party or whatever the
Somebody
case is.
trying to fit in.
Right.
And them hiding her.
Uh-huh.
In this case, he identifies as male.
Yeah.
But the same situation
Right.
where they hide his body.
And they're all fucking lying and there's a bunch of drama and chaos.
Yep.
Okay.
So she says that he had to be escorted off the property, whatever, right? When Jason's car was found abandoned in Libby, Montana, on September 22nd, he died on the 15th.
Okay.
This is now the 22nd. They find his car abandoned in another state entirely.
Fuck.
Phone records show that Matthew Raditz Freeman's phone was in that same location after Jason disappeared.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
How convenient.
You dummy.
So detectives went back to the property to interview them again. Early in the investigation, all 4 idiots were telling a different story. But now the second round of interviews looked very different.
Right. We all got our story straight.
Yeah. The asshats wisened up and they got a story together. It went like this. Jason came to the ranch sometime during the early hours of September 15th. There, he got into an argument with Matthew Raditz Freeman. That checks out because it's what they had been doing on and off that summer. Mm-hmm. That whole
And they still haven't found his body yet.
No.
Okay.
That whole infighting, it checks out. The police had records of that. So when it looked like Matthew Raditz Freeman was about to fight Jason, knight in shining armor Claude Merritt got involved and Jason left the property. Mm-hmm. That was, I suppose, Claude's defense story, right?
Okay.
Authorities didn't buy the story, and with the owner's consent, they searched the property. On October 2nd, they found a pill bottle with Jason's name on it and his badly broken sunglasses. Sure. So everybody got it straight. Oh, they were about to fight, but he left the property.
Right.
Okay.
And we don't know what happened to him after.
We don't know what happened to him after
Never
that.
saw him again.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
It was they were about to throw down. We escorted him out. Right. When cadaver dogs were brought in, they alerted to an area under a grounded boat. There were these 2 boats. One was parked on a trailer, one was on the ground.
Okay.
Under the grounded boat, that's where the cadaver dogs
Nailed
alerted. It wasn't for another 2 days that a backhoe was brought to the property and the digging began. This was where Jason's body was found. And there wasn't much digging to do. Like, literally, they
3
just had
feet's
to,
not
like,
enough.
move the
Yeah,
dirt.
not
They
enough.
just fucking kicked the dirt with their feet, and it was just like, there he is. Okay?
Fuck.
I'm obviously exaggerating,
Obviously,
but
yeah.
still. All right. So here's where the shit gets really what the fuck, right? The Dynamic 4 didn't get interviewed until a month later on November 7th.
Are you kidding me?
A month later. And in true white privilege fashion, Riley Hillstad displays his Second Amendment knowledge by showing up to the police station wearing a ballistic vest, pepper spray, handcuffs, knives, an AR-15, and a handgun.
Are you okay?
That's how he walked into the police station.
Oh my god.
Let's take a minute to consider if he was a man of color, how this would have come off.
Oh my god.
Right? Did you let that simmer in your mouth?
I just can't even imagine it.
The fact that he didn't get shot right where he stood, looking like a one-man fucking militia,
The fact that they
that's
weren't...
white privilege.
Oh my god.
That's white privilege right there.
The fact that they weren't immediately taken in for questioning when they found his corpse.
And the fact that he was able to roll in a month later, fucking dressed
loaded
as he
to
was
the
going to
teeth.
take them to war.
And nobody was like, hey, dude, what are you doing?
Or freaking, like, taken down by
Tased him and-
SWAT.
What the fuck?
Is it SWAT? SWAT. SWAT. SWAT.
I've been
SWAT.
taken down by SWAT many times.
But that right there is
Yo.
white privilege.
Right. I mean, you can't even be, like, black and driving down the street. Could you fucking imagine if somebody was fucking armed to the teeth like that and walked into a goddamn police station
Right?
and just wasn't immediately fucking shot to death? Holy shit. Holy shit.
Wait, it gets better.
Holy shit.
Because then he tells the fucking deputies that he should have killed Ken Sheckler when he had the chance.
The owner of the property?
The owner of the property.
Oh my god.
Right?
I'm,
and
like,
the deputies
actually in
were
shock.
like, would you like a snack or something to drink? Are you comfy? Let us know if we've inconvenienced you any way,
Oh my-
white angel of the Second Amendment pride.
This is fucking crazy.
Fuck.
What? I don't understand.
Dude, I mean, time and time again, you see these white guys fucking carrying all kinds of weapons in these protests, getting right
Yeah.
in a police officer's face with the weapon in their hand.
Yeah.
And the cops are like, chill, bro,
It's
chill.
fine, buddy.
You're one of us, chill.
It's fine, buddy.
I'm not going to hurt you. I come in peace.
I
I'm
don't
here to
wanna hurt
protect
you.
you. Just you.
Oh my god.
And listen, I'm well under the... I understand. I am whiter than white skinned. And I can pass for it. But still, like... I'm also not out here saying, oh, they don't do... You know, there's no such thing as white privilege. Yes, there is.
Yes, bitch.
I enjoy it.
That's a shiny example of it.
The fact that I move through the world, like, completely undetected.
Dude, though, I mean, seriously,
No one should be able to walk around as a one-man militia and not raise an eyebrow.
and walk into a police station for questioning for murder,
Right?
and be like, and nobody this is, I'm shocked.
No matter what color you are. We're not saying that, you know, we're not
This is
saying that the
shocking.
exception should be made. We're just saying that's a little sketchy.
It's wild.
right?
Weren't they scared, the cops?
No, because Second Amendment.
I'm like actually in shock. I don't even know what to say to like make this funny because it's so fucked up.
It's not funny. So that day, all 4 suspects and Amber Pearson were questioned, and each gave confirmation that Jason Fox had indeed been killed on the property in the early hours of September 15th.
Okay, so now they're all telling the truth. Parts
The
of
cat is out of the
parts
bag,
truth.
or
Okay.
the cat has been dug out of
Right.
not the cat, but like, you know, like
Yeah,
the
right.
evidence
we know
is
he's
there.
been killed here, right?
Right.
So who did it?
Right, exactly. So that's when, like, there is no honor
Right.
at this point. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
it's every
saying?
man
Like,
for
they're okay,
themselves.
well, we've been caught red-handed,
Right.
so now we're just going to start to freaking point the
Okay.
finger. But, of course, each person pointed the finger at the others and off of themselves. Okay? So Riley's story was that he saw Claude hit Jason in the shop, okay, and he left because it wasn't his fight.
Okay.
That was Riley, the one that came fully armed
Right.
to this interview.
Oh, okay.
So he said that Claude, Matthew, and Kevin were the ones beating Jason, and that, you know, in the shop. And then Claude's story was that Matthew had attacked Jason in the shop, and that Riley had taken Jason outside and came back telling the men that Jason had been killed.
Okay.
Matthew started to beat him in the shop. Riley finished him off.
Okay.
He's like, I don't know what happened. I was, you know,
He was all
innocent.
by himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Riley was like, oh no, it was Claude and Matthew and Kevin. They were the bad guys. I walked away. It wasn't my fight. So everybody's just like pointing at the
Punk
other
ass
ones. Right?
bitches.
Yeah, fucking cunts. Anyway, so he also told deputies that Riley Hillstad had threatened him and Kevin Belding, with his gun and told him not to say anything. So he's saying, not only am I innocent, I was kind of coerced into going along with it. Me and that other guy, Kevin. But remember, regardless, Claude lured him. So fuck you,
He's got
mister.
something to do with it,
Fuck
yeah.
you, mister.
Right.
So Matthew's story was that Riley and Claude attacked Jason while he was sitting in a chair with his hands tied behind his back.
Fuck.
He added that they took him in the back of an ATV driven by Claude and buried him alive. Now, Matthew's story...
So this is the first person that's saying that his arms were tied behind his back.
Right, yes. So I think everybody uncovered a little bit of the truth.
Yeah.
But remember, Matthew was the one that had initially the beef with him. Mm-hmm. You know?
Over the drugs.
Over the drugs. We don't know what it was over.
Right.
Because they lived together at one point.
Okay,
so
okay.
at one point they were friends or roommates or whatever, and things turned sour, right? A female witness said that she saw Riley Hillstad operating the small bulldozer used to bury Jason. And that may have been Amber Pearson or another girl. Because like I said, there's 24 people that are...
What the fuck?
Yeah. Okay. So Riley admitted to doing this, but claims that it was because he was trying to fix a sewage pipe on that same night. How convenient.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to do.
Right. Like...
At night.
At night.
Yeah.
Because it needed to get done on the same day, conveniently, that a body was buried.
Yeah, that's very strange behavior.
Also, with that machinery, you think you would have made a bigger effort to bury the body.
Yeah, well,
deeper.
when you said that he had a little bulldozer, like, why wouldn't you bury him properly? Like,
Right.
deep into the ground.
Right. But anyway.
3 feet into the ground, would you do one scoop, put him in there?
Right,
It's crazy.
right. Like, let's do the bare minimum to hide our crime. Anyway, Kevin was the odd man out, sticking with the original story of watching Jason leave the property.
Oh.
Fucking idiot. He
That feels
probably could have turned state's evidence and been exonerated.
Unless he's the
from
one.
this. Maybe. Who knows? All 4 were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The 19-year-old's death was determined to be a homicide due to blunt force trauma to the head. And Pepper is very explicit about the fact that they caved his face in.
Fuck.
Yeah. So she was just like she wants to be as real so that it's as raw as possible to people so that it fucking shakes you awake.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, because it's effective.
It's effective.
Yeah.
You know, when people feel it and people are shocked, it's like, oh, we can't let this stand.
Right.
Okay, like Emmett Till.
Right.
Where you had to see the damage of the hate in order for it to really sink in.
For people to be like, what the fuck, this is a problem.
We can't let this happen in our country, you know? So why could this be a hate crime? And that's a legit question, right?
Yeah, because it changes the severity of the punishment. Right.
So during the investigation, Jason's mom, Pepper, was able to uncover some pictures of a naked Claude Merritt on Jason's iCloud account, right? So,
this is the one who lured
him there. Okay, so these accounts likely contain more information that is relevant to the investigation, and Pepper Fox claims that there were actually 24 people involved with the luring and the murdering of her son. And I'm sure like some harassment and at some level. My sources were weddingwire.com, thespokesman.com, bonnercountydailyb.com, the inlander.com. So the way I found out about this case was through TikTok because Pepper posted on TikTok about the story in order to get it to go viral. So it would draw celebrity attention, and this definitely worked because I've seen it, you've seen it, you know. So it even got enough attention to kind of force the hand of law enforcement a little bit, who had been dragging their feet to subpoena the iCloud records. Yeah. Okay. So this story is still unraveling, and now more people are suspected, including the ranch owner, Ken Sheckler. The trial is set for June, I believe June 6th of this year. And I'll try to keep you updated on this story, but go out, check out TikTok. She shares a lot there. He was just a very cute kid, you know, chubby-faced, young, and it's fucking heartbreaking. It's just fucking sad,
her TikToks are crazy. I've seen them. I didn't really like, because as soon as I see it, I'm like, no, because I hate this shit, makes me so upset. But I did see that, like, this kid was killed, and it was gaining a lot of momentum because of her TikToks. Yeah. And people were like, share the shit out of this, share the shit out of it. So, like... Yeah,
because this shit cannot stand. It cannot continue to stand.
Yeah.
It just can't.
This is crazy.
Yeah, like, it fucking makes me sick to my stomach.
So the case started this week, then? Like, the week that this is airing, it starts this week. Yeah. So we're going to follow along, man. We'll post shit as we see it. Fuck, man. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as I started hearing her TikToks, which was like
not that long ago.
Months ago.
Yeah,
it was a couple months ago. And I was like, "Oh no, I got to tell this story. I got to follow this story and I got to tell this story on this podcast because
Yeah, she wants this story told.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and she wants it classified as a hate crime, and obviously she has enough information to make it.
Do you know if they're trying this as a hate crime?
I think that they're trying to skirt around that.
Really?
Because I think that, as prosecution.
Because
they
if
need
there
to,
is reasonable doubt, then it will fall through.
Exactly. And I think that they need to form a strong case. But her problem is that she's providing them with all this information, and she's reaching out to people, and they're incriminating themselves.
It feels like they're going to trial very fast. Like, if this just happened a year ago, like, usually, like, especially if there's still, like, time to put the case together, like, it feels like it's going to trial really fast.
It may be, like, the preliminary, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like indicting them.
Yeah,
or whatever,
the indictments and stuff like that. So I don't know, but follow her on TikTok. This woman has nothing to lose, bro. Nothing to lose.
Crazy,
this reminds me of the Mexican mom story that I told. What was it called?
Yeah.
On You the Mom.
Yeah.
Where the mom takes a vendetta.
Yeah.
And I think she's gonna fucking
rightfully
go nuts.
So. Yeah, rightfully so.
You know, and if you follow her TikToks, she had a contracting business, or she still does. I don't know what she. She's lost every hope. She has no living relatives. This is a woman.
You say he had an older brother?
Yeah, but I don't know if she was the mom or you know what I'm saying.
Maybe that's why he lived with him, because he had his brother.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So I mean, dude.
Oh, that's so fucking sad.
Yes.
Man, what the fuck?
So sad.
Do you want to take a break? I could use something sweet.
I need a palate cleanser.
Happy Pride, y'all. We hope you're enjoying our episode. That was a little heavy, of course, from Nydia, but what else do we expect from her? While Cindy gets us our palate cleanser, do us a favor, check out our new friends, and when you're done listening to my history lesson, go check them out.
Hey there, Rainbow Warriors. I'm CJ, host of Beyond the Rainbow, True Crimes of the LGBT. My episodes focus on crimes committed by and against the LGBTQ community. I've covered cases you probably have heard of, such as Matthew Shepard, Brandon Tina, and the Orlando Pulse nightclub massacre, as well as some lesser-known cases like the murder of Ray Hainish, the Australian gay beat murders, and the suspicious disappearance of Lisa Lynn Stone. I cover cases brought to me by listeners like Penny Brummer, who I believe was wrongfully convicted, taboo cases such as lesbian corrective rape and murder in South Africa, and Pray the Gay Away camps. I discuss gay serial killers, women who pretend to be men to hook up with other women, and trans murders. I'm opinionated and uncensored. I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but surely I'm someone's shot at tequila. No matter what your gender or orientation in life might be, please join me as I tackle rainbow crimes in search of unicorn justice. Remember, it's not a crime to be gay, unless you're a murderer.
And we're back. What is it? It's not bread pudding, is it?
It's not bread pudding.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look
usually.
like bread pudding.
It looks like pieces of bread.
It looks like
It looks like a blondie.
cake squares. Like,
is it
yeah,
a blondie?
blondies.
Should I just keep letting you
No.
guess?
It's a blueberry what? What is it?
It's blueberry gooey butter cake.
Listen, hey. Butter
Was my
cake,
next guess.
blueberries, all of those things.
I almost guessed that.
Yeah, right.
And again, this recipe also came out of the Tasty Pride book.
It's queer cake.
Oh, it smells so fucking
Yeah, now
good.
that the lid's off of it smells really
Holy
good.
cow.
I did not add the powdered sugar on top that they said to add it, because trust me, when you bite into this, it does not need. However, would have made it prettier, but I'd rather taste better than it be pretty.
You're not gay enough.
She didn't give it that pizzazz.
Look for everything. everything, bitch. What does Rue say?
But I'm lesbian.
Oh, that's not an excuse.
We're a little butchier, so I brought you a butchier cake.
All right, fair enough. Let's try it.
I'll take it. It
Let's
looks
try it.
beautiful.
Oh my god. I am so fucking full. That was so good. And so sweet. Oh, borderline too sweet. I don't know
Yes.
which one of y'all's smart idea was to put some of that kosher salt on there, but that was fucking banging.
I think it was a combination of me and Nitty, because Nitty was talking about savory, and I was like, it feels like it needs salt, and then...
It
Yeah.
really hit the spot.
Yeah, the
So
salt really freaking fixed it.
We have the salt out from taking tequila shots, which has now become a
Part of
new
the podcast. It's the fourth
tradition. Yeah.
host.
And it's fantastic, but I have all these different salts, so we put some coarse kosher coarse coarse kosher salt on it, and really, my God, really brought out the sweetness of it. It's so good.
Well, the overall flavors definitely popped after that.
Yeah.
This is fantastic, and I love it so much. Good job.
Thank you.
Nothing to say? She's
I'm
still over here stuffing her face.
She's actually still got a chunk of it in her hand, still eating.
I'm here for that salt and sweet. Oh, so good.
So good. I'm glad you guys liked it. Did you guys want to know about the people behind these recipes?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they actually, I have that Tasty Pride book, and it comes with the chef's story behind the recipe.
Let's hear it.
So the grilled spatchcock chicken with the peach Dijon glaze, what a mouthful, is from Rick Martinez. And he said behind the recipe, whenever he makes this recipe, and he came up with this recipe when he and his friends used to rent a house at the Pines in Fire Island.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they would go out there, they would have a great time, they would grill on the deck in their Speedos, that was their thing. So he came up with this recipe, and every time he makes it, it just reminds him of those days on Fire Island. And of course, who doesn't want to say spatchcock chicken?
Right.
That's actually in the book. So that was Rick Martinez. The blueberry gooey butter cake was made by April Anderson. And her wife started dating a few years ago. And when they first started dating, they ended up going to St. Louis on their first trip together. And St. Louis apparently is very well known for their butter cakes. So, of course, they had to try it out. And they were hooked ever since. So when they got together and opened up their first bakery, that was one of their recipes.
Aw, how sweet.
She also said that the recipes they used to come across always included a box recipe to make the initial base of the cake. She decided to invent her own recipe and came
Beautiful.
across this.
Okay, I was just, as she's talking, I'm over here stuffing my
Stuffing your
face.
face, yeah.
I just bit the shit out of my finger.
The last line in her little story says, sharing this recipe with our customers is our way of sharing the love we have for each other.
Aw, that's so sweet.
There
So
you
those
go.
are some queer chefs from your queer book.
Yes.
Beautimus. We love it so much.
Beautimus.
That's a word of Dana.
All right.
That's a Dana word.
I'm still fucking stuffing my mouth. See, this is why I can't trust you on my diet.
So I got my story from Wikipedia mostly, probably one of the most in-depth Wikipedia sites I've ever
Really?
come across. It's a ton of information there. History.com, and I watched a documentary. And I will put the
What
link.
was the name of the documentary?
The Times of Harvey Milk. And I will be telling you
Oh.
about Harvey Milk today.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about Harvey Milk, but the name is very familiar.
You should, this is like a big case in the gay community, for sure.
School me.
So Harvey Milk was the first out gay politician ever elected to office in the United States.
Oh, okay.
So Harvey Bernard Milk was born May 22nd, 1930 in New York City in a suburb of Woodmere to parents William and Minerva. He was the younger son of Lithuanian Jewish parents. As a child, Harvey was teased for his protruding ears and his big nose and his oversized feet, but he gained attention as the class clown. While he was in school, he did the customary playing of the football and the unconventional developing passion for the opera.
Opera?
Yes, he loved
Football
it.
and opera.
Yes.
Huh.
Under his name in his high school yearbook, it read Glimpy Milk, and they say women, all in caps, are never at a loss for words.
Wait, Glimpy Milk?
I guess. I don't know what that
The
means.
fuck?
I don't know.
What's Glimpy, first of all?
I have no idea. That's maybe what they called him. I have no idea.
Okay.
Harvey graduated from Bayshore High School in Bayshore, New York in 1947, and he attended New York State College for Teachers, majoring in mathematics, and he wrote for the college newspaper. One classmate remembers Harvey saying he was never thought of as a possible queer. That's what we called them then. He was a man's man. Like, he didn't come off as gay, you know, like...
Right, he brought all the girls to the yard.
Right. And he just, like, was unassuming, straight-passing Jewish dude, you know?
Right.
After graduation, he joined the U.S. Navy during the Korean War. He served aboard the submarine rescue ship USS Kittiwake as a diving officer. He later transferred to a naval station in San Diego and served as a diving instructor. In 1955, he was discharged from the Navy at the rank of lieutenant junior grade.
Okay, all these words are foreign to me. I know you're speaking, and I know that it's English.
It feels like
They're words.
Army words.
Also,
I don't know.
I've
Navy
had a lot
words?
to drink.
Yes. After the military, Harvey had many career changes and would often joke about his metamorphosis from that middle-class Jewish boy. He began teaching at George W. Hewlett High School on Long Island. He moved to Dallas with a partner and hated it. And when they got back
Hated it.
Jesus
Sorry.
Christ, you scared the shit out of me.
This reminds me of In Living Color.
Yes, I know.
Hated it.
That was a bit much.
I just jumped about 3 feet out of the seat.
Sorry.
Well, he hated it in Dallas. And when he got back to New York, he got a job as an actuarial statistician at an insurance firm.
Okay.
Harvey had a few relationships.
He was like in charge of saying, actually.
Yeah, right. He was mansplaining everything at the insurance firm.
Actually.
Harvey had a few relationships, like all of us, some more successful than others. But in his early life, he tried to keep his romantic life separate from his work and family.
Right.
So he was closeted.
Right.
He abruptly stopped working for the insurance actuary and became a researcher at a Wall Street firm, Bach & Company. He was frequently promoted despite his tendency to offend older members of the firm by ignoring their advice and flaunting his success. So, like, he was just killing it and, like, didn't give a shit.
Right.
Although he was skilled at his job, his coworkers sensed that his heart was really not in the work. And, like, whose fucking heart is in the work at Wall Street? Like, really?
Yeah, I mean,
There's
honestly,
no hearts happening there.
Who's like clicking their heels to go to work
Truly.
in Wall Street.
In 1969, Harvey and his partner at the time moved to San Francisco. The relationship ended shortly after they arrived, but the city appealed to Harvey so much so that he decided to stay. And I think from time to time he was like sort of jumping back between New York and San Francisco and Dallas, like sort of trying to get his feel for things and like find his place. And I think eventually he does eventually settle in San Francisco in this vibrant gay community.
Right.
The Castro, which we're going to talk about. He got a job working at an investment firm. In 1970, increasingly frustrated with the political climate after the U.S. invasion of Cambodia, he started to let his hair grow. When he was told to cut it at work, he refused and was fired. So there's like images of him you'll see when we'll post some images of him, and he has this like long ponytail, and it's the 70s, and like he just looks like
The quintessential
yes,
hippie?
like yes and no. Like he sort of looks like a comedian. Like James Taylor, like the singer, like with the big mustache and like the long hair and like he just looks like he's just like living his best life.
Got it.
Goofy 70s like hippie sort of
Right. Bell bottoms.
All that.
Got
like
it.
florally, like button-up shirts
Right.
with like his chest hair out and shit.
Oh, shit.
All of that, yeah.
Now, was he wearing a gold chain embedded in that nest?
No,
of
I don't
chest
think
hair?
so. But like that's the vibe.
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
that would put it together for me.
Yeah.
as
So
a
they're
look.
not they're more like hippie than they are like disco, I would say.
Oh, okay, because that would put it full disco.
Right. Now I will say this, in the documentary, if you watch The Times of Harvey Milk, I got it off Amazon for like $2. It was made in like 1984.
Okay.
So it's very 80s-tastic.
Right.
And the terminology, while very offensive, because in the 80s it was still very acceptable to call gay people fruits.
Oh my god.
And the guy's like, he like had worked with these unions and stuff, and we'll talk about it. And he's like, he's like a union guy, and he's like, and he's like that, like Italian sort of like
Okay.
looking like union guy, but from San Francisco. And he's like, we like met with this guy, and I didn't know who Harvey Milk was at the time, and we decided that we were gonna like back this guy. And I'm like, how am I supposed to go back to the guys at the union and be like, we're gonna back a fruit, man, like it's a fruit, and but like he's like got our back, so we're gonna back this queer guy, and it's it's fine that he's a fruit, like I don't care he's a fruit. And I'm like, dude, if you say fruit one more time, like, stop calling him a fruit. What the fuck?
Also, could you imagine if I introduced you as my friend? Like,
Your fruit
this
friend.
is my fruit friend. She's fruity.
They said fruit so many times on this documentary, and then one of the people that worked on the campaign, she was saying like, he becomes a politician, and he has like all of these people are campaigning for him in his shop. So it's like all these gay people
Right.
and lesbians and old people that were supporting him. So it was like this motley crew of like just
fruit
the
salad.
people. Yeah. But the lady's like, fucking asshole. The lady's like, the girl that was like running his campaign, she's like, and I walked in and she's just standing there and she's just like, I mean, she's a big old dyke in her like motorcycle clothes, and I'm like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
what the fuck? But they
Yeah.
just like, that's how they talked back then,
Right.
So like
Yeah.
to hear someone just like, it was just wild. Like this documentary is
Wow.
out of control from 1984, but it's very good and very informative, and like it really catches the vibe. And there's some really cool shots of like protests and,
Right.
and riots and shit like that I think you should check out this documentary if you get a minute, because it's actually very, very good. Anyway, so he starts dating this guy named Scott Smith. And after they had dropped off a roll of film at a local shop and it got ruined, he and Scott opened up a camera store on Castro Street with their last $1,000. So they took-
So they dropped off a roll of film to get processed.
Yeah.
And it got ruined. So they were like, fuck this shit. We're going to start our own.
yeah. They're going to
I
start a camera
fucking
store
love
with their
that.
last $1,000.
Also, it only took $1,000 to start a business.
and they had been like living off money that they had saved up. Like they weren't working, and they were just sort of
Wow.
like doing this like cool
free love.
Yeah, right.
And just moving about the universe like a leaf.
Right. So
Love it.
Harvey started to get into politics for a few different reasons. In the late 1960s, the Society for Individual Rights and the Daughters of Bilitis began working against the police persecution of gay bars and entrapment in San Francisco. So this was happening across the country, where police were going into gay establishments and just like dragging people out, beating them up, arresting them for no reason because they were gay, because it was illegal to be gay in many places.
Right.
And this was happening in the 60s in San Francisco.
There's still laws on the books that
Lots of places.
right.
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense.
Oral sex was a felony at the time.
And both hetero and
I
gay.
mean,
yeah.
The thing was, and what I'm about to talk about is that, like, of course, heterosexual sex is not frowned upon. So, like, they can live with each other in their homes, and it's not illegal. And
Right, because,
they
like,
can have all the
nobody's
sex
watching you
right.
in your
but
home.
when gay people were living together, it would be questioned. and, so
obviously, yeah.
a lot of times what was happening, you couldn't meet a gay guy at the grocery store because you couldn't be out, and
Right.
you couldn't go to these gay bars because they were attacking people, whatever. So what was happening was, in the dark of the night, they would meet in like parks and wooded areas and
Right.
things like that, and that's where they would engage in sexual activity. And this is where sometimes they would get busted by the police.
Right.
So obviously this is not an ideal or safe situation for anybody involved. The mayor at the time, Mayor Alioto, asked the police to target the parks, hoping that the decision would appeal to the archdiocese and the Catholic supporters for his reelection. So in 1970, before he asked the police to target the gay communities, about 90 people had been arrested in the city for having sex in public parks. In 1971, after he asked the police to target them, 2,800 men were arrested in San Francisco. So it jumps astronomically because of this specific targeting of gay men. By comparison, New York City recorded only 63 arrests for the same offense that year, as opposed to 2,800.
So San Francisco had ramped it up.
Right. Also, any arrest for moral charges required registration as a sex offender.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So in 1977, a few well-connected gay activists in Miami were able to pass a civil rights ordinance that made discrimination based on sexual orientation in Dade County illegal, which is like the first of its kind, an amazing step forward in Florida, but also anywhere in the country.
And probably the last time anything amazing in Florida ever happened again.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that. As you can imagine, the evangelicals had their knickers in a knot over this, and we just cannot have the gays having equal rights.
Right.
Absolutely not. A well-organized group of conservative fundamentalist Christians responded, headed by singer Anita Bryant, and started a campaign titled Save Our Children.
Okay.
You may remember Anita Bryant for the pie she caught with her face by Tom L. Higgins, a gay activist and true American hero. Do you know about this?
No.
Okay, I'm about to show you a video, which we will post. But
Okay.
I need you to see it.
Somebody got a pie in the face?
In the best fucking way.
Okay. It's gays throwing pies?
Yes.
Because if you don't flaunt it, who's going to know you're homosexual or not, you see? What they wanted to do was to flaunt it and to not lose their jobs because of it.
Oh, honey, that wig.
That Ronald McDonald hairstyle.
Oh, it's about to happen.
No, let him stay.
Let him stay.
Let's pray for him right now, Anita.
Let's pray for him. Let's pray for him right now.
Father, we want to thank you
With pie on her whole face.
for coming to Des Moines. And Father, I want to ask that you forgive him
That we love him.
and that we love
You didn't
We
hear
love him.
You didn't hear
She
it.
did
'Cause-
not want to say that.
You didn't hear it because
She's like,
she's got pie in her face and we're laughing. And I don't want to give this to her, but she does say, as soon as it hits her in the face,
Yes.
she goes, "At least it was a fruit pie." I don't want to give it to her, but that was fucking pure comedy fucking gold. And he nails her in the face with this pie. And then, so they go on to pray for 2 fucking minutes about how they love him and we forgive him and he's going to hell. And, it's
he's just like,
and he's just like, and they let him stay, yeah. And then, anyway, I didn't put this in my story, but comedians, late night host, fucking Carol Burnett. I'll also post a video. Carol Burnett sings a whole song with whatever. People just fucking lighten her. 'Cause she's a lunatic. She's a total lunatic.
Oh my God.
She's an anti-gay activist. She's out of her fucking mind. And she spearheads this campaign against gays getting equal rights in Dade County in Florida.
I want to start a campaign where gays just go to these Christian protests or any protest that, it doesn't have to be Christian, obviously, but any protest against gays.
Yeah. And we just throw
We
pies.
just do pies. It's just pies. That's our weapon of choice.
Fruit pies, of course.
Of course, fruit pies.
He nails her so hard in the face
Oh,
with this
I
fucking
fucking
pie.
love it. I fucking she's like choking on it. She nailed her so hard that it hit her fucking back of her throat.
You hear her go.
She's probably used to things getting hit in the back of her
She
throat.
definitely is. I guarantee you. Oh, fuck.
Oh, that was delightful.
Anyhow.
And then he goes back with his hands up.
Yeah,
He's like,
because he probably thought he was getting arrested, but of course
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, "No, let him stay.
Let's
gonna pray
forgive
for
him."
We
And
love
he's like,
you."
"Yup."
He's like, "Yup, cool."
I love that so much.
So Bryant and her group claimed the ordinance infringed on her right to teach her children biblical morality.
Okay.
We're not even going to get into that because it's total bullshit. Bryant and the campaign gathered 64,000 signatures and put the issue to a county-wide vote. With funds raised by the Florida Citrus Commission, Anita Bryant was the spokeswoman for Florida orange juice. Oranges.
Wow.
Yeah. So they ran television advertisements that contrasted the Orange Bowl parade with San Francisco's Gay Freedom Day parade, stating that Dade County would be turned into a hotbed of homosexuality, where men cavort with little boys. Of course, a nationwide boycott of orange juice was well organized, and the gays gave up their screwdrivers, stopped fucking drinking orange juice, as it was their civic fucking duty to not drink fucking orange juice.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the message of the Save Our Children campaign was influential, and the result was an overwhelming defeat for the gay activists. In the largest turnout in any special election in the history of Dade County, 70% of people voted to repeal the protection against gays, to, discrimination against gays.
Were there hanging chads?
No, I don't think so. Cindy, were there any hanging chads?
Nope.
No, there weren't any hanging chads.
You know that as soon as I heard Dade County, I was like, wait for it.
No, there were no hanging
Googling
chads.
hanging chad.
I'm so sorry. I'm not as smart as you, friend.
Or as old.
So this Dade County thing, this Save Our Children thing, this was a thing that was like going off in many other cities, right? We wanted to discriminate against gay people and their ability to work in the community and be unhindered in their lives.
And to bring up your property values, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Right.
He also fumed about government priorities when a teacher came into his store to borrow a projector because the equipment in the schools didn't, function properly. He's like, what the fuck are they spending their money on?
Right.
If the teachers don't have the things they need to teach the students properly, this is fucking crazy. So, that was a big priority for him. One day in 1973, a state bureaucrat entered his shop on Castro Street, his camera shop, and informed him that he owed $100 as a deposit against state sales tax. Harvey was like, nah, fucking dude, I'm not paying that shit. That they had like a screaming match in the store.
Really?
After he complained for weeks at the state's office, the deposit was reduced to $30. But he sort of realized like, the squeaky wheel gets the oil here.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to just come and bully my small business,
Right.
He decided that a time had come for him to run for city supervisor. He said, I finally reached a point where I knew I had to become involved or shut up. Harvey had run a few times unsuccessfully, 3 actually, but he did a few things that helped his community and made him a more serious candidate. The Teamsters, the union that I was talking about before, they had been trying to boycott Coors Beer because the major company refused to unionize. They reached out to Harvey to help him get the gay bars to refuse to serve Coors Beers.
Right.
Harvey agreed to help if the unions would promise to hire gay drivers. They agreed, and with the help from the gays, the boycott became successful, and Coors was forced to unionize.
So the union was for the drivers union?
It was for the whole company, like the Coors company, like the factories and, all of that. Tensions were growing between older citizens of San Francisco, mostly from Holy Redeemer Parish, and the gays who were entering the Castro district. So San Francisco was becoming a vibrant gay city with lots of, queer people. And, the older people were like, Right. 1973, 2 gay men tried to open an antique shop, but Eureka Valley Merchants Association attempted to prevent them from receiving a business license. In response, Harvey and a few other gay business owners founded the Castro Village Association with Harvey as president. He organized a Castro Street Fair in 1974, which attracted more customers to the area. More than 5,000 people attended, thus shut the Eureka Valley Merchants Association the fuck up, and they had no ability to argue because the gay people brought in so much fucking business.
Right.
One of Harvey's like things that he would say was like gay people should be buying from gay businesses. So like they were taking up this whole Castro Street and they were bringing in business.
Right.
So the people that had been there for a long time who happened to be straight, like they really couldn't argue with the case because they were making money.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
it was like settle the fuck down, holy redeemers.
And
our money is
listen,
green too.
And listen here. That same formula works for any minority group
Yes.
that's trying to make change in society. Money fucking talks.
That's right. And so in the documentary, there's after Harvey does finally get elected, there's an interview with him with a news crew or whatever, and he's basically saying, you know, African people fight with
Right.
Hispanic people, and Filipino people fight with Asian people, and everybody hates the gays. But if we all got together,
Exactly.
and we all fought against, the fact of the matter is the minority, that the evangelical minority is not the majority. They're not.
Right.
So if everybody got together who has the same ideas and who've been oppressed for all these years, got together, like they could enact change. And that's...
We can roll it the
Right.
hell over.
Right, and he was doing that.
But the job of the oppressors is to separate these groups into
Right.
smaller, lesser
Right.
powerful groups.
Well, and that's how you know, if you look back at history, right? If you look back at any monarchy, where
Right.
fucking 5 people, one family,
Right.
rules hundreds of thousands of people.
Right.
They rule those people by separating them
Right.
and making them hate each other
Right.
and making them have
Class
dissent
systems
in
and
right,
yeah.
exactly. And it's like, wake the fuck up, bro.
Taking
Like-
away their power because you have power in
Right.
numbers.
If we're separated from each other and we all
Right.
are fighting with each other about masks and money and insurance and healthcare and the right to marriage and all these things, we can't fight the 1% because we don't have time because we're so fucking busy fighting each other.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, we're definitely not going down that road. Finally, he was elected to the Board of Supervisors in 1977. He was sworn in with the most diverse group of people for the time, a single mother and former freedom rider, Carol Ruth Silver, the first Chinese-American, Gordon Lau, the first African-American woman, Ella Hill Hutch. These were all first-time people for this Board of Supervisors for San Francisco.
Good.
There was also another candidate that was sworn in with them, Daniel White. He was a former police officer and firefighter. The biggest targets of Harvey's wrath were large corporations and real estate developers. So, like, he was really for, I mean, most of his candidacy and things that he wanted to change were for gay rights. But also, he was really big on small businesses. He was really big on the community. He was really big about, you know, money being spent within the community,
Right.
like towards schools and, you know, funding for the community.
Things
like,
to benefit the community.
yes, the community within itself that we live in, that we
Right.
take care of. It's our money. Like, let's spend it for the people.
Let's put it right back
Yes.
into the community.
Yes.
Right.
He really, honestly, like, he had some great politics. If you, like, listen to anything he's saying, you're like, yeah.
I mean, it just makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah. He was often willing to vote against more tenured members of the board. Like, if he didn't agree with it and he didn't think it was right and for the people, like, he would vote against it. In one controversy early in his term, Harvey initially agreed with fellow supervisor Dan White that a mental health facility should not be placed in Dan White's district. So the district was all, you know, San Francisco was set up in all these districts. Dan White's district was about 2 miles away from Harvey's district. And Dan White did not want this mental health facility in his district. And initially Harvey was like, you're right, I don't think it should go there.
Okay.
This was a Catholic church group home that would be run by nuns for troubled youth. So after Harvey learned some more about the facility, he decided to switch his vote at the last minute, and Dan White lost this issue, and the group home would be placed in his district.
Oh.
And he was pissed because he didn't want these, like, delinquents in his, like, good, nice area.
Right.
This does not sit well for Dan White because it was a particularly poignant cause that he campaigned on while running. White did not forget it, and he opposed every initiative and issue that Harvey supported.
Just on purpose.
On purpose after this. And he was, like, very religious, very, like, white guy, ex-police officer, ex-firefighter, just, like, where everybody else on the board was, like, sort of liberal, kind of, like, hippy-dippy-ish, like, lots of...
Right.
You know, he was the outcast for sure.
He was very Christian that didn't want the nuns in his district.
Well, it's
very interesting.
Yeah, it's the thing about Christian
unique.
people where, like, you want to help people, but, like, over there.
Over
Over there,
like,
away from here.
technically we do want to help, but that's their job.
I don't want to see
over
it
there.
happen,
Yeah, like
though.
just over
if
there.
I don't see it,
Right.
I don't want to feel
doesn't
uncomfortable
exist.
about it. So, particularly, the bill that Dan White opposed was Harvey's bill that outlawed discrimination based on sexual orientation, making sure that gay people could not be fired for being gay or thinking that someone is gay. So, at the time, if you were a teacher, it was a big, big push for teachers in this time.
Right.
Because that's what this Save the Children initiative was. And if you watch, I highly suggest you watch this documentary because there's a lot of footage of them actually arguing, like political debates
Right.
of Harvey and some of his constituents actually debating this bill and fucking destroying them. Like,
Really?
their conversations made no fucking sense. Basically, what they were saying was, we can't stop molestation of children. We can't.
Right.
So, we should not have any. We should fire all gay teachers
Right.
because we should limit the ability to have these gay people molesting our children. So Harvey and his partner.
Little did they know that it was in their church and in their
Well, Harvey they
families.
come with documentation from the FBI, from psychiatrists, whatever, that's saying 90% of the people. I don't know if that's the real number
Right,
now, but
right.
back then that was the number they were saying. Like 90% of the people who molest children were straight men,
yeah.
and the guy's saying.
and to this day it still continues
It's still,
to
yeah.
be that.
So the guy's saying, yeah, but let's just get rid of all the gay people because then we like eliminate that. And they're like, no, we should get rid of all the straight people, the straight men specifically. And the guy's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. And Harvey like laughs in his face. He's like, no, you don't make any fucking sense.
Right.
Like it's mind boggling because like the fact of the matter was you didn't give a shit about these kids. You didn't give a
It's
shit about
not
these
about the
kids.
kids, it's about the gays.
It's about. And the woman describes it, the woman that was with Harvey arguing, she describes it like, we were scared, like as gay people, we were scared and we were reactionary because it was scary because our livelihoods were at stake.
Absolutely.
We all lived in the closet. Nobody was out.
Right.
And that was, they were sort of okay with that at the point, but part of this law was if they suspected you were gay, they could fire you.
Right.
So, but she was like, you know, now looking back, and now it's 84 at the time in this documentary, she's like, looking back, they were scared too, but they were scared for a different reason. They were scared because the core of everything they believed,
Right.
how men should act and how women should act and how we should react with each other and the sanctity of marriage and all of these things that they were raised, that was scary to them because we were showing them, hey, we're just normal people that don't live the same life as you, and it's fine.
That don't fit your narrative.
And it's fine.
And guess what? Your narrative is fake.
It's wrong, and it's okay, but like the fact that they were like being faced with
Having to
everything to
question
be
that,
wrong,
yeah.
yeah, it was scary to them.
Right.
And that honestly,
It was probably as scary as seeing aliens come down from the freaking heavens.
honestly, she's giving them way too much fucking credit because like I'm like fuck them,
Right.
but also I'm looking at that from a 2021 lens,
Right.
Where like she is giving them a lot of fucking credit, truly.
Right, yeah.
I mean, she's being very kind to
Right.
them. This particular thing was like Harvey's thing, right? This was Proposition 6. It was called the Briggs Initiative, and this was like in California where if this bill passed, they would be able to fire any homosexual for any reason from
even
any job.
for questioning.
Yes, for even
saying,
thinking
hey,
that
yeah.
it was, yeah.
And this was in what year?
77. Every single person voted to save the protection against gay people on the Board of Supervisors except Dan White. He votes against it.
Okay.
The state votes for it. It's Prop 6. You know, when you go to vote and there's like all the questions on
Right,
everything.
yeah.
So this was Proposition 6. The initiative was defeated on November 7th, 1978. The percentage was a 58 to 41% of people were like, no, we're not going to fucking discriminate against gay people. This is crazy.
Okay.
This is crazy what
So
you're saying.
good prevailed.
Yes. But
Okay.
this was not happening across the country. Like, that's not what happened in Florida. It didn't happen in,
Right,
like,
I mean-
Iowa. There was lots of other places that it was not happening. But San Francisco was like, the fuck out of here with this bullshit.
Right. They were more woke.
They were a little more woke. There were,
Right.
like, a lot of gay people. And the gay people had been supporting other minority groups in
Right.
things that they
Yeah,
were
because,
trying to pass. So they were
What we
all-
learned is that there was a big black community in San Francisco.
Right. There was a big Asian community, and
Okay.
he worked. Harvey and the gay community worked side by side with them to like support.
Good. Yeah,
things
because
and-
when minorities get together,
Yeah.
they make shit happen.
right, So, Mayor Moscone, who is like sort of buddy-buddy with Harvey, he's like the top guy like in the area, enthusiastically signed it into law with the blue pen that Harvey had given him for that occasion. It was like a big monumentous event. When the bill passed statewide, like they had a huge party, like the lady in the documentary was like, one of the best days of her life. Like, they were so thrilled that, like, they put in the work, they went on the streets, they talked to the people, and they passed this fucking law.
Okay.
Of course, there's a ton of other political shit that happens that we don't need to get into because maybe, like, me and 3 other people actually give a shit about it, and so I won't bore you with all of that. But the fact of the matter is, the tensions were high in the 70s regarding gay people, civil rights, the police, you know, evangelicals, just fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
And to this day, still the same freaking scenario.
Dan White is a little biatch, and he does not like that he's not getting his way. And on November 10th, 1978, 10 months after being sworn in, he resigns, saying he was under too much pressure and that he wasn't making enough money to support his family since he had to quit his job as a fireman to work on the board. Because you couldn't work, like, have a civil job and work for the board at the same time. A couple days later, though, he's like, takes these backsies. I was just kidding. Not my job.
Psych, nah.
Yeah. And the mayor's like, I don't know, like, you can't, like, quit your job, like, I need some time to think about it.
It sounded like he was playing around with jobs. If he was a cop and then a fireman, what are you going to go next? You know what I mean? Like,
Mayor Moscone, like, initially was like, oh, yeah, maybe, but, like, and Harvey specifically, and a lot of people on the board were like, no, fuck this guy. You can't quit your fucking job. This is, like, you're a civil servant. Also, he's the only one that doesn't agree on us with us to anything. And so now at this point, Mayor Moscone can appoint somebody who votes the same way he does. So it would be stupid to let him come back. So, bye, dude. Bye.
Okay.
Go away.
So they don't take him
back. He's like, he has like a certain amount of time to make some decisions, and he decides that he'll announce if he's gonna give him his job back or replace him.
Okay.
So that was November 10th. November 18th and 19th, news broke of a mass suicide of 900 people in the People's Temple in Guyana. This is important because most of these people were from San Francisco. The People's Temple was initially in San Francisco. These people were constituents of Mayor Moscone. Some of the people that worked on Mayor Moscone's campaign were people from the People's Temple. Like, he was like boys with Jim Jones. Jim Jones, like, worked in, like, the real estate something, and he was, like, appointed by Moscone. Like, it was, like, he was, like, in the mix.
So he was in the mix.
So this was, like, a big fucking deal in San Francisco. Like, this was huge news across the country. This specifically was very traumatic to the people in San Francisco. These were their friends. A lot of people knew a lot of people from there because they all lived in San Francisco for years.
Okay.
So this, like, shakes San Francisco to the core. Dan White remarked to 2 aides that were working to try to get him reinstated, you see that? One day I'm on the front page, and the next day I'm swept right off.
Okay.
I mean, 900 people died, dude.
Yeah.
Chill the fuck out.
Yeah, like, of course that's going to take precedence over your stupid little piss-ass story.
You took your ball home and went because you didn't get your way. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, Mayor Moscone was planning on announcing Dan White's replacement on November 27th, 1978.
When he got distracted.
Well, a half an hour before the press conference, with a loaded police-issued revolver and 10 extra rounds of hollow point bullets in his pocket, he climbed into the basement window of the city hall to avoid the metal detectors and went to Mayor Moscone's office.
Dan White did?
Yes.
Ew.
I keep calling him Moscone. It's Moscone.
Okay.
And that would be Jose Cuervo's fault.
Fucking Jose.
White shot Moscone in the shoulder, in the chest, and then when he was laying on the ground, he shot him twice in the head. He reloaded his gun, walked across to Harvey Milk's office, asked him to step inside, shot him 5 times, 2 of which were also in the head. Later autopsy reports conclude that if it weren't for the 2 headshots in both men,
they would have survived.
They would have likely survived.
Fucking A.
Within an hour, White called his wife from a nearby diner. She met him at a church, and they went and turned themselves in to his former partner. He admitted that he wanted to kill 2 other supervisors, Willie Brown and Carol Ruth Silver, the freedom
Yeah.
rider. So he killed the mayor. He wanted to kill he did kill a gay Jewish man.
Right.
He wanted to kill an anti-racist freedom rider.
Right.
And a black man.
So just get them
across the
all,
board.
right? Yeah, just
get
the
them
board.
all.
Wow. So no wonder he didn't want a mental health facility in his neighborhood because
He'd have been
the
patient
truth
there.
hurts.
Yeah, right.
Fucker.
That night, 40,000 people formed a spontaneous candlelight march from Castro Street to City Hall. The images of this they make you cry.
Really?
It's so beautiful. It's just quiet. They're quiet. Just quietly marching.